The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit on a quiet Tuesday morning. Its smooth, silvery surface reflected sunlight like a mirror, making it impossible to miss against the dark backdrop of space. Captain James Walker stood at attention in the command center of Earth Defense Force headquarters, his weathered face illuminated by the glow of multiple screens showing the visitor. "They're hailing us again, sir," reported Communications Officer Lisa Reed, her fingers hovering over the control panel. Walker took a deep breath. After years of preparation and speculation, humanity's first contact with alien life had finally arrived. "Accept the transmission," he ordered. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a tall, blue-skinned being with silver eyes. Its formal robes sparkled with what looked like living stars. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am High Counselor Thex of the Galactic Council. We have been observing your civilization and believe you are ready for first contact." The words came through perfectly translated, suggesting advanced technology at work. Walker stepped forward, maintaining his composure despite his racing heart. "Welcome, High Counselor. I am Captain James Walker of the Earth Defense Force. We are honored by your presence." Thex's expression shifted into what might have been a smile. "We would like to send a delegation to discuss your potential membership in the Galactic Council." However, the alien paused, silver eyes focusing on something off-screen. "Our scans indicate your military vessels still use projectile weapons." There was something in the way Thex said it that made Walker's spine stiffen. "That's correct. Our ships are equipped with advanced railguns and coilguns, among other defense systems." A sound like tinkling crystal emerged from the alien. Laughter, Walker realized. How quaint. We haven't seen a civilization use physical projectiles in over 3,000 years. Most species abandon such primitive methods once they discover basic energy weapons. Walker kept his face neutral, though his jaw tightened slightly. "Our weapons have proven very effective for our defense needs." Of course, Thex said, waving a long-fingered hand dismissively. "We will still proceed with the diplomatic meeting. Perhaps we can help you modernize your military technology as part of the membership process." 24 hours later, Walker stood in the newly prepared diplomatic chamber, watching as 3 alien shuttles descended from the main ship. They moved with impossible grace, their hulls gleaming with the same mirror-like finish as the mothership. Around him, Earth's highest-ranking military and political leaders waited with barely contained excitement. The shuttles landed, and a delegation of aliens emerged. High Counselor Thex led them, now even more impressive in person. The aliens stood nearly 8 feet tall, moving with fluid grace despite the apparent weight of their ceremonial robes. Behind Thex came other council members, each wearing expressions that mixed curiosity with barely concealed amusement. "Welcome to Earth," said Walker, stepping forward to make the formal greeting. Thex's silver eyes scanned the honor guard positioned along the walls, lingering on their ceremonial rifles. "Fascinating. You even keep projectile weapons for formal occasions. Most species can't wait to display their energy weapons at such events." A younger council member behind Thex actually giggled. Walker felt his face grow warm, but maintained his diplomatic smile. "We believe in honoring our military traditions, High Counselor." "Yes, well," Thex said, gesturing to one of their aides who carried what looked like a sleek silver rifle. "Perhaps a demonstration of proper modern weaponry would help you understand what you're missing. This is a standard-issue Council Defense Force plasma rifle. It can pierce any known armor, requires no physical ammunition, and never needs reloading." The aide activated the weapon, which hummed to life with a blue glow. Several Earth officials leaned forward with interest, but Walker noticed something they missed: the slight delay between trigger pull and discharge, the complexity of the power cycling mechanism. "Very impressive," Walker said carefully. "Would you be interested in seeing one of our weapons in action as well?" Thex exchanged amused glances with the other council members. "If you insist, Captain. Though I warn you, it might be somewhat embarrassing for your people." Walker smiled, but this time it held a hint of steel. He knew something these advanced aliens didn't. Sometimes the simplest solution was the best one. And humanity had spent centuries perfecting the art of throwing very small pieces of metal very, very fast. "I look forward to the demonstration," he said quietly. "I think you might find it quite educational." The council's testing chamber was a massive white room that seemed to stretch endlessly in all directions. Lieutenant Emma Richardson stood calmly beside her standard-issue railgun, watching as the alien weapons experts circled it like curious birds. Their silver eyes blinked rapidly as they scanned the weapon with their advanced devices. "How basic," said Chief Weapons Inspector Rex, his tall frame bent nearly double to examine the railgun's barrel. "You simply use magnetic fields to propel metal projectiles. No plasma containment. No quantum acceleration." Emma kept her voice steady. "Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective, sir." Rex straightened up, his blue skin shimmering under the bright lights. "Effective? Your projectiles travel at what speed?" 15 kilometers per second. 25, actually," Emma corrected politely. "And we're working on faster versions." The group of alien experts broke into that crystal-like laughter again. High Counselor Thex, who had been watching from the back, stepped forward. "Lieutenant, let me show you what real military technology looks like." At Thex's signal, a holographic target appeared at the far end of the chamber. One of the alien experts raised their plasma rifle, which hummed to life with a bright blue glow. The weapon discharged with a flash of light, and the target exploded spectacularly. "Zero projectile travel time," Thex said proudly. "Perfect accuracy. No need to account for wind, gravity, or atmospheric conditions." Emma nodded respectfully. "Very impressive. Would you like to see our weapon in action now?" "Of course," Thex said, gesturing grandly. "Though I warn you, our sensors will record everything. Try not to be too embarrassed by the comparison." Emma took position behind her railgun. The weapon was massive compared to the sleek alien rifles, but she had trained with it for years. She knew every sound it made, every slight vibration. As she powered it up, the familiar hum of the magnetic coils filled the air. "Target is set at 5 kilometers, Rex announced, clearly expecting this to be a challenge. Emma made a slight adjustment to her sight. "Could you set it further back? This is designed for long-range engagement." The aliens exchanged glances. Rex pushed a few buttons, and the target moved to 10 kilometers. "Better. 20 would be more realistic for combat situations," Emma suggested. More crystal laughter. Thex waved a hand, and the target moved to 20 kilometers. "Now you're just being silly, Lieutenant. Even our energy weapons lose coherence at that range." Emma didn't respond. Instead, she took careful aim, accounting for the minimal barrel drift of her weapon. The railgun hummed louder as it charged. She pressed the trigger. The sound was like thunder in the enclosed space. A hypersonic crack echoed through the chamber as the projectile broke the sound barrier instantly. Before the echo died away, the target exploded into fragments. Silence fell. "Impact in 0.8 seconds, Emma reported professionally. "Direct hit." The projectile maintained 97% of its kinetic energy at impact. The alien experts huddled around their scanning devices, speaking rapidly in their own language. Thex stepped forward, silver eyes narrow. "Impossible. Our sensors must be malfunctioning. The energy readings at impact are exactly what you'd expect from a 20-gram tungsten projectile moving at 25 kilometers per second," Emma finished. "Would you like to see what happens when we use our special ammunition?" "Special ammunition?" Rex asked, unable to hide his curiosity. Emma loaded a different round into the railgun. "This one has a depleted uranium core, excellent for penetrating energy shields, since most are designed to stop plasma or laser fire, not physical objects moving at these speeds." The alien's blue skin had taken on a distinctly pale tinge. Thex raised a hand. "That won't be necessary, Lieutenant. Though I must ask, Why maintain such brutal technology when energy weapons are so much more elegant? Emma smiled slightly. Because in real combat, elegant doesn't always mean effective. And humanity learned long ago that sometimes the old ways work best. She could see the worry in their eyes now. These advanced aliens had just realized something important. They had forgotten the basic physics that humanity had mastered. In their rush to develop energy weapons, they'd left themselves vulnerable to something as simple as a very fast piece of metal. The assessment wasn't going quite as the Council had planned. Mark Thompson sat alone in his dimly lit office at Earth Intelligence Headquarters, surrounded by holographic displays showing star maps. His tired eyes moved from one point to another, tracking a pattern that had taken him months to piece together. Small civilizations on the outer rim of Council space were going silent, one by one. He rubbed his eyes and reached for his coffee cup, only to find it empty. 3 weeks had passed since the Council's weapons assessment, and while the politicians argued about adopting energy weapons, Mark had discovered something far more worrying. The door slid open, and Captain Walker stepped in. "You said it was urgent." Mark nodded, gesturing to the star map. "Look at these worlds, Captain. Each red dot represents a colony or civilization that's gone dark in the past 6 months. No communications, no trade ships, nothing." Walker leaned forward, his face illuminated by the holographic glow. "That's quite a few worlds. What does the Council say about this?" "That's the interesting part." Mark pressed a button, and more data appeared. "They're dismissing it, calling it temporary communication disruptions or technical difficulties. But I found something they missed." He zoomed in on one of the red dots. This was the Beta Colony. Small world, about 10,000 settlers. They sent one last transmission before going dark. Mark played the audio. A burst of static filled the room. Then a panicked voice. "Massive ships. Our energy shields errant. Weapons have no effect. They just keep coming. Please send." The transmission ended in static. Walker's face had grown serious. "Have you found any visual records?" Mark shook his head. "Nothing clear. Just shadows on long-range scans. But here's what's really interesting." He pulled up another display. Every world that's gone dark had fully modernized energy weapon defenses, Council standard. Walker's eyes narrowed. "And no projectile weapons." "Exactly." Mark stood up and paced the room. "Whatever's out there, it's immune to energy weapons, just like how our railguns surprised the Council experts, but in reverse. We're looking at a species that's evolved or developed perfect energy shield technology. But they've never faced kinetic weapons," Walker finished, understanding dawning on his face. Mark nodded grimly. The Council's standardization of energy weapons might be their biggest weakness. Every world uses the same technology, the same defenses. If you can beat one, you can beat them all. Walker straightened up. "We need to warn them." "I tried." Mark pulled up a recording of his communication with a Council representative. The aliens' dismissive attitude was clear even through the translation. "They think I'm trying to justify Earth keeping its primitive weapons." Walker was quiet for a moment, thinking. What's the estimated time before whatever's out there reaches a major Council world? Based on the pattern, Mark projected a timeline. 2 months, maybe less. Then we don't have much time. Walker turned to leave, then paused. "Keep monitoring. I'm going to have a conversation with our production facilities. If the Council won't listen, we need to be ready." After Walker left, Mark turned back to his displays. A new alert was blinking. Another world had gone silent. He added it to his map, watching as the pattern of red dots crept closer to Council space. In the weeks that followed, Earth's factories worked at full capacity. New railgun designs were tested and improved. Ammunition was stockpiled. Ships were retrofitted with additional kinetic weapon systems. The Council representatives watched with amusement, still believing Earth was clinging to outdated technology. They didn't understand that humanity's primitive weapons might be the galaxy's last hope. Mark kept watching his star maps, counting down the days. The shadow in space was moving faster now, growing bolder. Whatever was coming, it had never faced an enemy like humanity. And humanity remembered something the Council had forgotten. Sometimes the best way to stop a threat wasn't with fancy energy beams, but with good old-fashioned physics. A simple piece of metal, moving very, very fast, could change the course of history. The clock was ticking. The emergency alarms in Earth Defense Force headquarters blared to life at exactly 3:47 a.m. Earth time. Captain Walker rushed into the command center, still pulling on his uniform jacket. The main screen showed chaos. Hundreds of massive black ships had appeared near Centauri Prime, one of the Council's most important worlds. "Status report," Walker called out, taking his position at the command station. Lisa Reed's fingers flew across her communications panel. "Multiple distress calls from Centauri Prime, sir. The Council's defense fleet is engaging the unknown ships." But she paused, listening to her headset. Their weapons aren't having any effect. The main screen showed the battle. The Council's sleek silver ships fired brilliant beams of energy at the invaders. But the black ships, angular and threatening like giant arrowheads, simply absorbed the attacks. Their shields glowed briefly with each hit, but showed no sign of weakening. "Those are the Ravagers," Mark Thompson said from his intelligence station. "Same ship design as the shadows in my scans. They're not even trying to hide anymore." Walker watched as a Ravager ship fired back. Instead of energy weapons, it launched what looked like clouds of small objects. When they hit a Council ship, they burned straight through the energy shields and hull like they weren't even there. "Some kind of advanced micro-projectile weapon," Lieutenant Emma Richardson said, analyzing the data. "They're using our trick, Captain. Physical ammunition that ignores energy shields." The Council ships were falling quickly now. Their elegant energy weapons, so impressive during peacetime demonstrations, might as well have been firing light shows at the Ravager fleet. The black ships advanced steadily, methodically destroying everything in their path. "Sir," Lisa's voice was urgent. "Emergency transmission from High Counselor Thex." The main screen split, showing Thex's face. The usual aristocratic calm was gone, replaced by barely controlled panic. "Captain Walker, our weapons have no effect. The shields, they're unlike anything we've seen. We need—" An explosion rocked Thex's command center, and the alien steadied himself. "We need help." Walker stood straight, his voice calm but firm. "Earth Defense Force stands ready, Counselor. But you need to understand, we'll be coming with our own weapons, the ones you wanted us to abandon." Thex's silver eyes widened. Yes, whatever you need. Just hurry. They're breaking through our outer defenses." Walker turned to his crew. "Sound General Quarters. Execute Operation Thunderbolt. All ships prepare for immediate departure." The Earth Defense Force had been preparing for this moment for weeks. In orbit, 30 ships powered up their engines. Each one had been retrofitted with additional railgun batteries and coilvan turrets. Their holds were packed with specialized ammunition. Tungsten penetrators, depleted uranium cores, and the new experimental rounds that the weapons division had rushed into production. "All ships report ready, sir," Lisa announced. Walker took a deep breath. "Fleet Command, this is Captain Walker. Our mission is clear. We're going to show these Ravagers that humanity remembers how to fight the old way. The hard way. Set course for Centauri Prime. Maximum speed." The Earth fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving their home system behind. On the tactical displays, more red dots appeared as Ravager ships continued their assault on Centauri Prime. The Council's mighty energy weapons, the pride of their civilization, had proven useless against this new enemy. But humanity was coming, and they were bringing something the Ravagers hadn't counted on: weapons that were considered obsolete, primitive, and outdated by the rest of the galaxy. Weapons that worked on pure kinetic energy and basic physics. Weapons that would remind everyone why sometimes the old ways were the best ways. Time to arrival at Centauri Prime. 15 minutes, the navigation officer announced. Walker watched the countdown, his jaw set. The Ravagers thought they had found an easy target in the Council worlds. They were about to learn that humanity had joined the galaxy, and humanity was bringing thunder. The Earth fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Centauri system. Through the main viewport of his flagship, Captain Walker saw the devastation. Dozens of Council ships drifted dead in space, their elegant hulls pierced by Ravager weapons. The massive black ships moved steadily toward Centauri Prime, shrugging off the increasingly desperate energy weapon fire from the remaining defenders. All ships, battle formations, Walker commanded. Lieutenant Richardson, you have weapons control. Emma's hands moved across her console, bringing the railgun batteries online. All weapons charged and ready, sir. Loading tungsten penetrator rounds. The Ravager fleet noticed the newcomers. 3 of their arrow-shaped ships broke off from the main attack and turned to face the Earth vessels. On the tactical display, Walker could see they were charging weapons. They're not even trying to communicate, Lisa reported from communications. They're just attacking everything they see. Walker nodded grimly. Then let's show them why that's a mistake. All ships, execute attack pattern Delta. Lieutenant Richardson, weapons free. The Earth fleet split into 3 groups, executing a maneuver that would have seemed strange to Council tactical officers. Instead of forming an elegant battle line, the human ships scattered in seemingly random directions. The Ravager ships fired their cloud weapons, the same micro-projectiles that had torn through Council vessels with ease. But the human ships were ready. Their point defense railguns roared to life, filling space with their own streams of counterfire. The 2 clouds of projectiles met in space, canceling each other out in a spectacular display of kinetic impacts. As we thought, Emma said, studying her readings. They use physical ammunition too. But they didn't expect us to have countermeasures. The Ravager ships paused, seemingly confused by their weapons' failure. That moment of hesitation was all humanity needed. All ships, execute primary fire mission, Walker ordered. Show them what Earth brings to the fight. 30 railgun batteries fired simultaneously. The space between the fleets lit up with trails of superheated air as tungsten penetrators crossed the distance at terrifying speeds. The Ravagers' energy shields flared and failed completely. The human projectiles, moving at a significant fraction of light speed, tore through their hulls like paper. 2 of the 3 Ravager ships exploded immediately. The 3rd spun out of control, venting atmosphere and debris. In the stunned silence that followed, Walker heard crystal laughter. But this time, it wasn't mocking. High Counselor Thex was watching from his damaged command center, his silver eyes wide with wonder. By the stars, Thex breathed. Those primitive weapons of yours are exactly what we need, Walker finished. Now, let's save your world. All ships, advance on the main Ravager fleet. Fire at will. The Earth fleet surged forward. The remaining Ravager ships turned to meet them, but they were clearly unprepared for this type of combat. Their defenses, so effective against energy weapons, meant nothing against humanity's kinetic assault. Emma's voice was calm as she coordinated the fleet's fire, switching to depleted uranium cores for maximum penetration. All ships synchronized firing solutions. The space around Centauri Prime turned into a crossfire of human railgun shots and Ravager counterfire. But where the Council ships had been helpless, the human vessels fought smart. They used their point defense guns to clear paths through the enemy fire, then struck back with their main batteries. One by one, the mighty Ravager ships began to fall. Their black hulls, previously untouchable, were torn apart by humanity's obsolete weapons. The few Council ships still fighting watched in amazement as their supposed primitives turned the tide of battle. Multiple Ravager ships attempting to retreat, Mark reported from his tactical station. They're not used to taking losses like this. Walker allowed himself a small smile. Let them run. Let them tell the others what happened here. Let them learn that humanity remembers the old ways of war and why they worked so well. The battle for Centauri Prime wasn't over, but the tide had turned. Humanity had proven its worth not through fancy technology, but through remembering the fundamental rules of physics that so many have forgotten. The main conference room of the Galactic Council looked very different now. Where once there had been only elegant energy weapon displays, now a massive railgun hung on the wall. Lieutenant Emma Richardson stood before a group of alien weapons officers, pointing to various parts of the weapon. "The key is in the simplicity," she explained. "Magnetic acceleration isn't complex. Your civilizations mastered these principles thousands of years ago. You just forgot about them in the rush for more advanced technology." In the month since the Battle of Centauri Prime, everything had changed. The Council races, once so proud of their energy weapons, now rushed to learn humanity's primitive warfare techniques. Earth had become the center of military innovation in the galaxy. At another station in the room, Captain Walker met with High Counselor Thex and other military leaders. The star map between them showed the Ravager fleet's movements. "They're retreating from all major systems," Walker explained, pointing to the tactical display. "Our victory at Centauri Prime shocked them. They've never faced an enemy who could fight back effectively." Thex nodded, his silver eyes now showing respect when they looked at the human captain. "We were blind," the alien leader admitted. "Our standardization of energy weapons nearly doomed us all. If Earth hadn't kept to its own path." "The past doesn't matter," Walker said firmly. "What matters is preparing for their return. They'll be back, and they'll try to adapt to our weapons." In the shipyards orbiting Earth, Council engineers worked alongside human technicians, studying the designs of railguns and coilguns. The elegant silver ships of the Council fleet were being retrofitted with kinetic weapon systems. It was a strange sight. Ancient technology being installed on the most advanced vessels in the galaxy. Mark Thompson walked through one of these shipyards, reviewing data on his tablet. The intelligence officer had been right about the Ravager threat, and now the Council listened carefully to his analysis. "Their ships are gathering in the outer regions," he told a group of Council strategists. "Our best guess is they're modifying their shields to deal with kinetic weapons. But that's the beauty of physical ammunition. You can only do so much against it. Energy you can deflect or absorb. Mass times acceleration. That's harder to argue with." Back in the conference room, Emma had moved on to demonstrating different types of ammunition. She held up a specially designed round. "This is our latest development. A depleted uranium core with a tungsten cap designed to defeat any armor they might develop. Simple physics, applied with modern precision." The Council weapons officers took notes eagerly. One of them raised a hand. "But surely we can improve on this design with our advanced technology." Emma smiled. "Of course we can. That's why we're here. Humanity brings the fundamental principles. You bring the advanced materials and manufacturing. Together, we make something better than either of us could alone." In orbit, the combined human Council fleet practiced new battle formations. The Council ships were learning to work alongside their human allies, adapting their elegant maneuvers to incorporate the more practical human combat doctrine. Captain Walker watched the exercise from his command deck. "They're learning fast," he remarked to Thex, who stood beside him. The alien leader nodded. "We had to. The Ravagers taught us a harsh lesson about relying too much on a single type of technology. Humanity reminded us that sometimes the old ways are the best ways." A junior officer rushed in with a report. "Sir, long-range scouts have detected Ravager ships moving toward Council space, a larger fleet than before." Walker and Thex exchanged looks. The real test was coming. But this time, the galaxy was ready. Humanity had shown the way, and the Council races had swallowed their pride to learn. Together, they had forged something new, a military doctrine that combined the best of the old and the new. The Ravagers were about to learn that the galaxy they thought was easy prey had teeth again, And those teeth were made of good old-fashioned tungsten, accelerated to spectacular speeds. The combined fleet waited at the edge of the Arcturus system. 500 ships hung in the darkness of space, Council vessels now bristling with railgun batteries alongside Earth's own warships. Captain Walker stood on his bridge, watching the tactical display as the largest Ravager fleet yet approached their position. "They've modified their shields," Emma reported from her weapons station. "Double-layer defense system. Energy shields backed by gravitational fields." Walker nodded. The Ravagers had learned from their defeats, but so had humanity. "All ships, initiate attack plan Thunder. Let's show them our latest innovation." The human Council fleet split into their practiced formations. The elegant Council ships, once reliant solely on energy weapons, now moved with deadly purpose. Each vessel carried weapons designed by both species, energy beams alongside railguns, creating a defense that no single technology could overcome. Ravager fleet entering weapons range, Mark announced from Tactical. 300 ships. No, 400. Their biggest attack yet. They think numbers will save them, High Counselor Thex said from his position beside Walker. The alien leader had insisted on being present for this final battle. "They don't understand what we've become." The Ravager ships struck first, launching massive volleys of their micro-projectile clouds. But the combined fleet was ready. Point defense railguns filled space with counterfire, while Council energy shields added an extra layer of protection. Not a single human or Council ship was lost in the opening barrage. "All ships," Walker commanded, his voice calm. "Execute primary fire mission. Show them what happens when the galaxy stands united." Emma's fingers flew across her console, loading special ammunition. All ships synchronized. The combined fleet fired as one. But instead of simple tungsten rounds, they launched something new, projectiles developed by human and Council scientists working together. As they struck the Ravager shields, they split apart, each piece carrying a quantum disruption field derived from Council technology. The gravitational shields flickered and failed. A second volley followed immediately. Traditional railgun rounds backed by focused energy beams. The Ravager ships, their defenses compromised, began to break apart under the assault. "They're trying to regroup," Mark reported, shifting to their secondary formation. But the Ravagers had lost their greatest advantage, the ability to ignore their enemies' weapons. The combined fleet pressed forward, their twin technology assault overwhelming the Black ship's defenses. Humanity's practical combat doctrine, merged with Council tactical elegance, proved devastating. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it ended, the mighty Ravager fleet was in ruins. The few surviving ships flowed into deep space, leaving behind a clear message: the galaxy was no longer easy prey. In the aftermath, Walker and Thex stood in the Council's Great Hall. The chamber was packed with representatives from every Council race, gathered to mark a historic moment. In recognition of humanity's vital role in defending our civilization, Thex announced, his voice carrying to every corner of the hall, "Earth is hereby granted a permanent seat on the High Council. Furthermore, the Earth Defense Force model will become the standard for our combined military." Walker accepted the ceremonial staff of office, a symbol of Earth's new status. But more meaningful were the changes he could already see. Council members wearing practical combat uniforms alongside their formal robes. Tactical displays showing both energy and kinetic weapon readouts, and most importantly, the respect in their eyes when they looked at their human allies. "The age of singular reliance on energy weapons is over," Thex continued. "We forgot the wisdom of keeping multiple approaches to solving problems. Humanity reminded us that progress doesn't always mean abandoning the old ways." Later, on the observation deck of his ship, Walker watched Council engineers installing new railgun batteries on their vessels. Next to him, Emma and Mark reviewed plans for the new Combined Defense Force Academy, where both human and alien cadets would learn to master all forms of warfare. "Who would have thought," Emma mused, "that our primitive weapons would end up saving the galaxy?" Walker smiled. It was never about the weapons. It was about remembering that sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. The Council forgot that. We helped them remember. Above them, the stars shone on a galaxy forever changed. Humanity had taken its place among the stars not by abandoning its past, but by embracing it. And in doing so, they had helped forge a stronger, wiser civilization, one that understood that true advancement meant learning from all paths, both old and new.